Welcome on this fine Saturday evening to the live ScottTheTruckDriver stream or something. I'm doing this stream tonight because I wanted to go over in a bit more detail. I'm sure, as many of you are aware, I'm in the process of restructuring my website quite a bit, and there's a whole bunch of reasons that I did this. Welcome, Dave101, by the way. And thank you to Brunchicus and Big Naz1999 for the follows that happened while I was offline. I've been struggling to find alternatives to YouTube for a while now, and I've tested out a bunch of different blockchain platforms. My most recent attempt to test a platform is Steemit. I'm still waiting to get approved to join because apparently it's a 2 to 3 week waiting process to sign up. And then because it's blockchain, they're going to want to verify my ID and everything like that, But from what I can tell so far, it's, I was becoming frustrated because then I went to look at Steemit to see what you could do on there. And I don't know, it seems like it's dying. But what led me to do that is Minds.com. I've been talking shit. I've been like, hey, Minds is great. I love Minds. You should follow me on Minds. And a lot of you did. But I'm having problems with Minds, and it has nothing to do with anything I'm doing or that, whether or not you guys are interested in my shit. This is something completely different. You see, my whole idea for doing these other platforms is I need to grow to survive as a content creator. If I want to do this full time at any point in my life, I'm going to have growth. I can't rely on the same people to keep this thing floating. I need new people to come in. And while you could make the argument that I suck, and believe me, some have, I hear this complaint across the board from many YouTubers that they've noticed a huge plummet in the number of new people coming in and the number of views they're getting organically. And when you look, at the analytics for it all, it kind of shows. Most of my views come from my subscribers. Most of my impressions come from my subscribers, not from the search algorithm. So essentially it tells me that I'm D-ranked in terms of the search engine. If you were to search keto, I probably wouldn't show up till like fucking 10 pages in, or even more. Who knows how far down the rung I am on keto. Same with intermittent fasting. Things that I commonly talk about, no new person's going to just come to my video. They're going to have to have exhausted hundreds of other videos first. Same thing for the recommended tab. It's, I do get some impressions from that. I look at my analytics. But for the most part, the growth has been stagnant for a while now. Despite up and downs in my content, I'm the first to admit that every once in a while my shit can suck. Just like anybody else, I'm fucking human. But at the same time, there are videos I felt were very good. Particularly, I enjoyed the Vegetable Police stream, which those of you here on Dlive have already seen. That is going to be on YouTube tomorrow. Because I talked about a lot of the concepts and misconceptions about keto during that, and addressed some of the more direct criticisms of Vegetable Police during that. And for those of you who were curious why there was no replay to that, apparently I fucked up. It wasn't Dlive, it was me. There's a switch now, a toggle switch, that whether or not you want your stream to become recorded for the replay. So I didn't toggle that on for the last one. It is on for this one. Plus, I am recording this. This is going on YouTube to kind of share my plans going forward. So the biggest plan, going through all these platforms, let me first show you what pissed me off about Minds.com and why I'm going to be leaving. I kind of went over this, but this is for the YouTube crowd too. I went over this in the stream the other day. But if I look at my Boost console here, this is where you use your, let me close the messenger out here. This is where you use, your tokens to get exposure. This is impressions. This isn't necessarily people reading your shit or looking at your shit. This is putting it in their feed. Like when they're flicking, it'll show up. So it's not even like views in that sense of the word. It's more like impressions. And it was better than Facebook in that you could use tokens to get impressions, and it was working fine. I was earning just by being on the site, 1,000 views. So like if I go and scroll and look through people's shit and and remind and all that, I was accumulating in my wallet. If I look at my wallet, I was getting in the neighborhood of, I haven't done much today, as you can see, of, 1 token per day of fucking around on mines. And then I would in turn use that for videos or posts that I wanted some exposure for. This is a way of getting organic growth. The only, when you're marketing yourself, you have to do stuff like this. You can't just rely on algorithms and search engines to do it for you. There's things you can do to make it easier for the algorithms and search engines to do that, but for the most part, not so much. So, I was noticing I did these boosts, and did I already click it? There we go. I did these boosts and 0 views. They were approved. I'm not sure how that works, but, something with the blockchain does this. Look at this. I boost, some of these are videos that are over a week old, and I boosted them. Like I tried to reboost that one, it didn't work. Gettysburg, I boosted that. The going live, I boosted. Actually, I deleted this post because I always delete the live posts because they go away after 7 days. I don't want people to click it and then not find anything. I post sending people to my website so they could watch the new YouTube video. None of these are. This one got 1 view. This was back on the 4th. So I was getting pissed because I was doing these boosts consistently, including tokens that I purchased. I spent like $25 or something like that, and I'm still working my way through those tokens. I got, like 16 or 17 of those left that I saved for posts that I really, really want to promote. So I was hoping to build more audience for my content here on Mines. That it doesn't seem to be working now that I'm looking at things. I can get more impressions and I can build subscribers. But what I'm noticing here is people aren't hanging out. People aren't on Mines. You want to know how I know that? Because I have 530 subs, and when I post, I get like 20 there, there's 20 views there, there's 22 views there, there's 11, 9, 16, 45, no more than like 50 or 60 on average on my feed of over 500 people. And I'm willing to bet that most of the exposure I'm getting are people like, you who have followed me here on Dlive or on YouTube that are interested in seeing what I'm doing. So it's shit in terms of people. In order for social media site to work, people have to actually be on there and participate and create content and view content. And I don't think they're doing a good job. Now, I'm not abandoning Mines completely, but what it made me think about and decide to do is have my own platform. This has been staring me in the face the whole time. I don't know why nobody has slapped me across the face in the comments, say, hey, dickhead, you're paying $200 a year for your fucking website, and it's just sitting there, and every once in a while you update the blog, and it's not really doing shit. So I've spent the last 3 days, in addition to getting the content out that I've been producing, including the VP stream and all of that other stuff, deciding how I wanted to go about restructuring the site, and I started working on it. And the first thing I wanted to do was have some kind of subscription model, because I know not everyone wants to go to my site and check it randomly to figure out what's going on. Some people like to have a reminder of some kind when something new happens. So I thought about, well, what did they do in the old days? Or what do a lot of people still do? And what is something that everybody has? If you have a phone, you have this, or you have access to have this. And that is email subscriptions. A lot of websites will will allow you to subscribe to their newsletter through email. So I decided to spend a couple days getting that up and running on ScottTheTruckDriver.com. So now you can subscribe to me directly on my website. We're cutting all of these other platforms out of the mix, and it's a direct connection between me and you, so that when I produce content and share it with you. And in addition to that, I had a few other bells and whistles I want to roll out going forward. These are all free, by the way. I'm not asking for money for any of this. It's just a matter of you being okay with receiving emails from me, and I don't spam. And we'll get to why that don't worry about spam. All right. When something pertinent happens, I will send. If you want to get a little more into, I'm not going to email you every time I make a blog post, but I will email you when a new video comes out. I'll email you to let you know when I'm planning on being live. There's also a new calendar I put up, which we'll talk about that. So there's a lot of things that I'm building now to make ScottTheTruckDriver.com my platform of choice. Any social media shit, ScottTheTruckDriver.com, the blog. I'm going to post blog posts again. I used to write blogs, and that seemed to be growing a little bit. In fact, I've noticed in my analytics a lot of people were coming to my website directly through various search engines because I was writing blogs. So I'm going to start being a little more bloggy on some of the things, but I'm still a vlogger and podcaster mainly. So that's pretty much what I'm planning to do. How old is that Mind website? They still might be trying to fix the bugs out of it. It is buggy, and but I do like that it has such potential if it gets adopted by people. And there are people that have made it their home, so I don't think it's going to die, but it's also not. It seems to not be growing right now, and this boost thing is going to kill it if they don't fix it soon. I know it's a bug. They've said it right out in the forums. There's numerous people that have complained about it. They've even hashtagged it as boost ban with some conspiracy that now Minds is trying to ban everybody that, because the whole point of the site is to be able to get organic growth and exposure just by participating in the site, which is the theory behind most blockchain social platforms, including Dlive. It's all based on the blockchain. It's based on not only incentivizing creators to create content, but also to incentivize you to participate and watch and consume the content. Obviously here on Dlive you got the chest system, which I can load at any time and do giveaways, which a lot of streamers do to kind of drive up their traffic. It's a way of paying for exposure on a live streaming platform. It's very common. And you also generate stuff in the chest by chatting, by interacting, and by following, and that's kind of how that works here on Dlive. On Minds, you got the Minds tokens. The Minds tokens aren't worth anything cash-wise. I mean, there's some black market buy and sell shit, just like any other cryptocurrency. But you can't go to a legit exchange and get USD for Minds tokens. The value of Minds tokens is the boost, is the impressions that you can get. If you've ever been on Facebook and tried to boost a post, that's exactly what that is. You're putting your post in people's feeds, and Facebook decided a long time ago to give you a certain amount of exposure for free and then try and rope you into buying exposure even to people that have already subscribed or follow you. And I hate that. And I think YouTube's going that way as well. To where the only way you're going to get your shit in front of eyes is if you pay advertisers, and I've stopped shy of that. I don't necessarily want to go on AdWords and try and get, put my video in other people's videos as a commercial, and to drive traffic. But a great many successful channels do that. I don't have the budget for that. I don't, I'm on a pretty low budget. So I don't want to spend a lot of money on advertising. I'd rather just do it myself in terms of posting in various platforms to say, hey, by the way, I got all this shit over here. If you want to come see it, come on over. Come look at my shit. So you know, that's why I loved Minds. I still like Minds. I still will flick, you know, occasionally, because I have found things on here that I have not been able to see on other platforms that trigger thought, trigger, you know, conversation, trigger ideas for videos even, you know. I like the fact that it isn't censored unless I censor somebody from my feed, you know, and that's why I'm still not going to abandon Minds. So my plans for Minds, if you're following me on Minds, it's going to mirror my blog. So whenever I make a blog post, there will be a Minds post to go with it. And I will try and still boost if they ever fix it. But for the most part, I'm going to just hashtag those. And if you want to read the post, you got to click through and take a look. So, and let's see, do I have an example of that? Yeah, I have an example of that right here. So I did this post, I think it was yesterday, about my cheat day video. And, you know, this is mainly, most of you are on YouTube already, or, you know, here on Dlive, you can just go directly and see the video. But on the off chance that the YouTube didn't tell you I put a new video up, that's never happened, right? Then this is how you'll get notifications. Between that and subscribing on ScottTheTruckDriver.com, you will get an email saying, hey, there's a video, by the way. It takes me a few extra, like 20 minutes more to get it out to you in the email. So it's not going to be instant as soon as the video's up. So still, if you're one of the fortunate ones that still gets notifications on YouTube, you'll see the video before you get the email. But, you know, maybe you didn't notice the notification or you were busy. I've been in situations like that, and the email comes in, and then you later on in the day you check your email and look at it, there it is, and then you can jump into the site. And this will apply to anything important that I do in terms of content. If there's content available for you to get, you'll get an email for it. That's the plan going forward. And some of you have already subscribed, and you know, I'm glad, because I want to build my website. And I'm also thinking it's one of the few things that I can promote externally and eventually maybe even advertise and grow, so that my website is growing. Not my YouTube channel, not Minds, not even Dlive. I want my website to grow. I want my platform to be where people go to see my content. I don't want to have to constantly say, oh, well, by the way, over here in Dlive, I'm streaming. Over there on YouTube, I've got a video. Over there on Minds, I got another exclusive video. And then I've tried this other thing out, and then fucking you need to go there and follow me. And then the next thing you know, I'm asking you to follow me in like 100 different fucking spots. I want one spot now, and I want to be in control of that spot. And so far, my website's the only way. Does it mean I might be kicking myself in the nuts and reducing my exposure? Absolutely. I do not get as much traffic on my website, but I can work on that. I can build it. There are SEO tactics and advertising tactics and guerrilla marketing tactics that I can use to bring an audience to my website. And one of the tactics is just as simple as creating content in the form of a blog that search engines will pick up. And I've went through my analytics yesterday, and I saw that that is a way people are finding my website. And if I do that more often, much like when we're growing organically on YouTube, you bring new people. The more videos you did on YouTube, the more likely you're going to bring new subscribers in. And that's what I'm thinking with the website. And because it's a website, it's a wider audience. You don't know who's going to show up. You don't know who's, you know, I got people in places I can't even imagine going to my website. Like Tel Aviv, Israel, a few other like countries. I'm like, wow, they're looking at my website from there. You know, and I know you guys, there's a lot of people all over the world that are watching my shit, and I get the analytics for that too. But I never thought anybody would, especially since I haven't kept up with it. That's my fault. I haven't put a lot of effort in the website in the past, and basically this video is to tell you that that's changing. So let me get into, what is the next thing I had? Another thing I'm doing that I don't know if you noticed, I am curious if you noticed. If you're here and you have a comment on this, let me know. I want to know if this is working, because I started doing this. I started going to the community tab. They introduced this a while back. I have seen posts pop up every now and then, but I always took a shit on it. I don't know. You know, is it a viable way to inform people of what's going on? So now and this is creating a little more work for me, but because the core audience for me right now is from YouTube, I am more than willing to come here and mirror posts here or create posts here. So I've been doing that. Every time I go live, I'm putting a post on YouTube. I don't know how reliable this is, though, so I don't think it's a good alternative to just subscribing and getting the emails. I would prefer that. But for the time being, and I can't guarantee I'm always going to get to this, I'm always going to prioritize my own website and my blog and my emails over YouTube's stuff. But I have started sharing posts on the community tab of YouTube. I'm not noticing a lot of traffic or, receipts. I didn't even know I got 2 comments. VP is mental. Playback on Dlive is hideously out of sync and choppy. I understand. Not everybody has a good experience. I think it's mainly because I think Dlive is hardware intense, because on my computer I don't have a problem, and my phone is the latest, Note 9, so I don't have a problem there either. But I can understand if you have an older piece of equipment. I don't know. So, but if I'm wrong about that, and you have the latest and greatest technology and it's still fucking up, then it is what it is. They're always working on Dlive. It is a new platform. You got to be patient with it. But I want it to grow. I mean, do you want to be stuck with the way things are, where you're struggling to find shit to watch and because it's being censored and deranked, and, when you search for stuff, you're not necessarily going to get what you're looking for because it's deranked, and I'm telling you, I'm getting to that point because there's stuff I want to watch and it's out there. And if I dig for a few hours, I can get to it. But the algorithm isn't fucking showing it to me a lot of the times. I'm getting more into my subscription tab. I'm getting more into filtering my search results, usually by upload date, so that I see all the shit that's not getting new exposure. That's the problem with YouTube. It isn't that no one ever sees my shit in the recommended. I think if you click on my shit regularly, it'll pop up. But the problem is new people who aren't necessarily, they're looking for a topic. They aren't necessarily going to find me first. They're not even going to find me in the top 100 probably of search results. But if you go in and you tweak it to upload date, whoever uploaded last comes up first. So it could be some little YouTuber with 4 fucking subscribers and 10 views, and they might have something great. You don't know. You want to know why you don't know? Because YouTube isn't going to pimp that out to you. They're going to pimp out the guy that has 100,000 subscribers, that has tons of ad revenue, that's quietly talking about shit and is not talking about anything controversial, unless that's something you have a history of clicking on, and that has a lot of advertisers on board, particularly high-value ones. If I were YouTube and running a business, that's probably how I would set up the algorithm, because they make their money off of ads. These blockchain places don't. My website's going to make money off ads. I got ads all over the fucking place. I use that to help pay for the website. But so the other option I'm doing here is I'm going to post in the community tab on YouTube. Going forward, whenever I go live, pretty much. Anything else you want, that it's just for the live streams. It's just so people know that I'm going live that otherwise might not be informed. But after a while, I'm going to hope that everyone that wants to participate in the live streams has gone to ScottTheTruckDriver.com and subscribed to be notified of the live streams. No problem, Yelva. I'm just going over some stuff about, this will be on YouTube probably Monday or Tuesday. I won't be able to post it till probably Tuesday because I have a concert to go to tomorrow. That's going to take all day because it's a couple-hour drive away. But that's what's going on. That's I'll be posting there. So let's get to the website stuff. When you go to my website, you just type in ScottTheTruckDriver.com. You end up here. So the first thing that I would say you'd probably want to check out is the blog. So you just click on the blog there, and you'll have this menu off to the side. These are all things that I've added or working on for the website. And I've restructured the ad system a bit to make it a little easier for me to post, where I don't have to constantly put ads in. So there'll usually be an ad up top and then probably an ad all the way to the bottom. But when you just click on the blog, you're going to get short forms of the post. These are not the complete posts. If you want to see the complete post, you click this read more here, and that'll bring you to the actual post. And that helps me out too, because then you get to see another ad possibly if I put one in here, or it'll refresh the ads that are down here. So that helps pay for the website just by having those ads there. And that's how we do. And then you'll have the video here. Or if it's not hosted on YouTube, or if I decided to do something just for my website, or a podcast or whatever, but you can watch it here. Another thing I'll be doing that I was starting to do on Minds, is I watch videos sometimes, and I don't necessarily want to make a video response about them, but I'll sometimes want to share that person, that creator, and help them grow. This is how we help creators grow organically outside the algorithm, is people sharing their content, and I'm going to start doing that myself for creators that I watch and that I think deserve a shot at growth, even if YouTube might not think it's economically viable for them to grow. So you'll start seeing me post, and I'm not going to inform everybody of every single post of those. So if you want to periodically see what's going on for my social media experience, I will be posting that all my posts will come from my blog from now on. I won't like directly post just something to Minds and then hope that you guys see it or anything like that. From this, I will mirror to the following sites: Minds.com, and my old Facebook page. There will be no interaction on Facebook. So if you're commenting on the Facebook page or you're messaging me on there and you don't hear from me for a while, it's because I check it once a week. And it's a really quick wham bam, thank you ma'am. And then I'm done with Facebook. But I know that some of you are still on there, and I understand. It's just I try not to be on there as often because it pissed me off. So you got all of these, posts that I'll be having, and they'll go to Minds.com as mirror, and Facebook is a mirror, and that's about it, because fuck Twitter. So that's it. And I won't bombard your email every time I do one of those kind of posts. The only time you'll get an email from me is when I have a new live stream coming up or a scheduled one. If I give you an email about the scheduled one, I'm not going to send another email when I'm actually live, because that's what Dlive does. And I would hope that if you knew the schedule, you'd be able to figure out to be here. So I just don't want to spam your email with more than one post a day. So that's the plan there. Another thing I added to my website, if you look at the side here, is the live stream schedule. Now, I've had a lot of complaints about this, that no one knows when I'm streaming, so they can't show up. So I made a calendar, and this will be the first point of update when I schedule a stream. Now, I don't always schedule streams. Sometimes there'll be random shit, in which case following me on Dlive is the superior way to keep up with streams. But in the event that you can't get those notifications, which I've heard some people have a difficulty with, there will be, this is a calendar, you can scroll through each calendar, and there'll be a post. This very stream, I posted the first schedule on. I will probably schedule something after I get back from my concert tomorrow for later in this week here. I can only schedule a few days out right now because I do have client work going on, and I haven't figured out the dates and times. So it'll almost never be anything on Fridays, because that's when I work at the bar. But other than that, I will be scheduling here from now on. And you can also notice, if you're wondering how to subscribe, in the footer, I believe, of my page, on almost any page you go to, like if we go to back to the blog, and we scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see subscribe to ScottTheTruckDriver.com. You just enter your name. It doesn't even have to be your real name. It's just a name. And your email address. And then you're subscribed. And if you don't want to unsubscribe, each email contains a little thing at the bottom So how far ahead do you plan on posting your live stream schedule? I will try and give you at least a day or two of notice, but that's as good as I can get unless there's something I just know that I'll be able to have a day to do, and I'm willing to commit far enough ahead of time because nothing else might pop up. A week to a couple days in advance I will try. Sometimes it's going to be the day before because I have this, I want to get this out now type thing, and I'll do it the next day. So no more of 1 hour before the stream sending out notice. That I'm going to stay away from. It's going to be at least a day in advance, if not 2 or 3 days in advance. So that's what I'm thinking of going forward as far as scheduling is concerned. If it grows to the point where I can sustain myself financially, I will absolutely schedule a day and time that is regular every week. And unfortunately now I can't do that. I have to be available for my clients. I have to be available to make money in other ways. I can't just rely on my minuscule income to get me through by scheduling. I have to be open for client work. I have to be open to fill in at the bar. I have to be open to run Uber. For the most part. Now, the more people come and this grows and the contributions roll in like they did last week, I was able to spend a full 70 hours working on this stuff, including this website update, because y'all funded it so that I didn't have to do anything other than my normal work at the bar, which is on Fridays. So thank you for that. But, once I get bigger or full time doing this, then I can block out Monday through Friday I'll do a stream at this time, or something like that. And a lot of streamers do that. They just have a scheduled time every day where they go live. I would love to do that. I just can't yet. Eventually, if this continues to grow, if my ideas of using the website help promote growth in some way, because YouTube isn't doing it, and Minds just took a shit on me because it was growing, but the engagement isn't there on Minds for some reason. I think people come, they subscribe, and then they don't check Minds forever. So that's my thoughts on scheduling. I hope that answers your question, Dave. Let's see here. What else? Oh, I wanted to go over the next big thing. And I consider this a big... Sorry, coffee and shit. I consider this a big thing to give to people. I'm creating a new page called Subscriber Lounge. So if you subscribe to me via email, at the bottom of each email, it's not there yet, but it will be by the end of next week. Once I have something for you to see, you'll go in. I'm going to update this to have some kind of background to let you know what you're putting a password into. But the password will change periodically. No more than once or twice a month. I'll change the password. But it'll always be at the bottom of your last email notification will be the password to the Subscriber Lounge. And some ideas that I have for here. I am going to do exclusive content. I'm probably going to use Google Drive to be able to distribute that content directly to you through this lounge page. I'm still coming up with a game plan for it, and I would like feedback. I even put a feedback form at the bottom of it so that once you do get to see it, and there will be content there when the time comes, what kind of stuff you would like to see in the Subscriber Lounge. Some of it will be possible for me. Some of it will be, I don't know if I'll have the capabilities to do that. I am not exactly, a coder in terms of web development, and plus this is Squarespace, so I have to work within the confines of their, web pages. So the first thing I wanted to do is I'm going to be bringing back exclusive audio podcasts for free that I will put so you can download them and listen to them to your heart's content. And what I'm thinking of doing for those audio podcasts is at least doing them live here, and then releasing an audio version, an audio only version. And I'll keep in mind when I'm recording the live stream on here that it is audio centric, that not everybody will be able to see what's going on. So that's the plan there. There will be audio podcasts, and there might be exclusive subscriber only, as in the only people that will hear the podcast are subscribers to the website. As I get more subscribers, I will do that more often. But there's going to be that. There's going to be videos. Sorry, I'm a little gassy. I ate before I came this. I had a nice big ribeye, and I'm starting to burp up a little bit. It's coffee. But anyways, I'm going to do that. I'm going to post the replays after the first 7 days. I will put a replay of any live streams I do that I'm recording, because I record them all now. I have to re-encode them because they're huge, so I have to knock them down to maybe 720p or even 480p, depending on how long they are. So that if you do choose to download them, they'll download easily. But through the Google Drive link, you'll be able to just watch them right there without downloading them. It does use the YouTube-ish type stream. I think 1080 is the max video quality. You might have to fiddle with the video quality a little bit. There's a little cog when you click one of those. But I'll be able to distribute video directly to you through that way. I don't have any other means of hosting video on my website other than Google Drive or YouTube, or just funneling you to a different platform that has a video on it. I will also utilize YouTube's live stream feature unless Dlive comes up with a way for me to do this. But there'll be subscriber only live streams that I'll do through the YouTube streaming platform, because I can set that to, you have to have the link to see the stream. So there'll be some exclusive stuff. I'm also going to put Discord up there regularly, so that if you guys want to chat amongst yourselves with voice chat, or just write posts on Discord in the general chat section, it changes every 24 hours. So I will probably put that up periodically. I'm still working out how to do that, because it changes every 24 hours. I'm not necessarily going to be able to change it and keep up, but I'll do the best I can with that. I can't guarantee that at this point. But if I figure out a better way to have a forum within my website, then we'll do that. And if you guys have any suggestions, by all means, suggest. But right now, I do like Discord. I think Discord was causing me problems on the stream because I'm not running it right now, and my video hasn't cut out at all. It hasn't had any problems like the other stream. So I am curious about that, and if Discord is my cause, because I will enable it at some point, then I might reevaluate my use of Discord for streaming. Especially, but as a independent of streaming thing, I think it will work. So Dave 101, I'm quite impressed with all of your efforts. Thank you for the diamond and shit. Well, yeah, thank you. It's good to be appreciated when I put a lot of work into things and shit. I got the Tutti fucking fruity. Mr. Humpty loves the Tutti fucking fruity. Thanks again for the ice cream. So that's going to be the lounge. I'm going to have, and I also want to do stuff with my photography stuff. So, I want my photography I started a photography channel on YouTube. I haven't posted in a while. Thank you, No Sugar Life, for the diamond. I haven't posted any new photography videos, and some of you have said that, thanks, Mr. Humpty, for a diamond. You guys are going crazy. You must really like that I'm doing a subscriber lounge. That's what I'm getting the impression of. So it makes me chuckle too. That's why I did it. I need to update the sounds for the other donations from that quack noise to something a little more fun. But so I want to be able to get my content to people. I don't want to have to charge everyone for my content. I don't want to have to paywall anything if I can avoid it. Not to say that if I haven't had a contribution in a while and the ad revenue's still shit and no growth is stagnant, and if you guys still are going to want me to put content out, at some point I may do a paid audio podcast every now and then. But as far as the days of me doing that every Friday like I used to are probably not coming back, and they shouldn't have to, because I'm going to be putting out a lot of different podcasty things. I'm pretty much podcasting here on Dlive. This could be very audio-centric, and I think all I would have to do is just convert it for you to an MP3 that you can just put on your phone, and when you're running around and you don't necessarily want to stare at a screen for a couple hours, but you want to hear some content, then you'll have some. And I think some of the discussions we get into on here are definitely interesting enough to entertain somebody in a more radio-centric format. So that's my plans. What do you guys think? You think we need any, is there anything I didn't cover that we should have in here? Initially, when I do post content and exclusive content that you can download and share, I'll give you how long it's going to be there type notice, because I only have limited cloud space right now. I only have 30 gigs, which isn't a lot. Like one or two videos at full quality would take that up. I'm going to probably have to knock them down to 1080p or 720p, depending on how long they are, just to save space and allow for more different types of content. Audio podcasts they don't take up a lot of space, and I think I can even host some of those directly on the site. But as far as video content that I share, it's going to be, shared. Does it cost anything to have podcasts on iTunes or Google Play? I have considered podcasting in the past and using those platforms, but they're platforms that have some stringent rules on content, and as you know, I tend to run off at the mouth and occasionally say offensive shit. I don't know how well I would do. Maybe I'll make a go at it. I prefer to build my website, and maybe that's one way to drive people to it is to start podcasting on the traditional podcasting websites, which would obviously be Google Play and Apple. I'm not a big fan of Apple's platform and iTunes, so I don't know how I would feel about putting a podcast there, but with Google's latest activity, it's kind of, granted, I probably would pick Google Play, as the platform to publish a podcast on. But before I would ever be able to do any of that, I would have to go learn how to do it. It would probably take me a week just to figure everything out and put my first podcast up on Google Play. But yeah, you're right. It'd probably be a good method to monetize. I am considering audiobook. I can run my mouth. I've learned that I could run my mouth for 8 hours at a time if I wanted to. Be pretty fucking exhausted by the end of that. But if I were to make that a little bit more cohesive and structured, I could probably put out an audiobook every now and then and sell the audiobook. So that's an option too. So I've considered these options. The problem is I'm a one-man band. I got to do all of this myself. It takes extraordinary amounts of time to make videos. And then when you start adding in podcasts and then marketing and then, uploading to every platform I add to my formula for putting out content adds probably a good hour or so to my workload on top of what it already takes just to publish a video on YouTube. So, I got to keep all of that in mind. I think I need more growth before I get to the point where I have time, to where I can hire somebody and get some of the tasks, the more shitty tasks that I don't want to do. If somebody else were able to take that workload off of me, I'd be able to do that. But unfortunately, I don't make enough money. I make barely enough to just keep this channel alive at this point. You guys help a lot with that, and I appreciate it. But I don't have any illusions that I'm ever going to grow to that level. I'd like to, and I'm going to work on it. Obviously, I wouldn't put all this work into my website if I didn't think I could grow it, either organically or through marketing. But that's the plan, pretty much. Of course, I added the subscription to the contribution page, and you all know about this. I got PayPal, Bitcoin, and tips and shit Tips and shit is my preferred method of contributions. But I try to make it as convenient. Why is that scrolling down on its own? My computer's possessed. So there's that. I've always had this here. Some of you have been using it, but it hasn't been used in a while. Some people want to suggest research or videos or articles that I should read, or there's something they want me to take a look at. This is where you submit that, and basically you just fill this out and tell me all about what you're submitting, put the links in, and then I will go and look at it, and if it's something that I find interesting enough, I'll make some content or reply to you on it. It's hard to keep up sometimes, so I don't always get to these right away, but eventually they end up in a video, most likely is what happens there. But it's still there. It's still available for use. Of course, you have the store here, which has all my old podcasts. In case you didn't know, there's a shit ton of audio podcasts from when I was doing it every Friday. And this will be where any paywalled content ends up. Videos, I haven't figured out a good way if I wanted to make a paywalled video. I might have to use Vimeo for something like that. I don't know. But, as far as audio podcasts and pictures and anything else, I could probably do like a Google Drive thing and, give like a 24 to 48 hours to get it to you if you buy it type stuff. But this is my store. This is where I'm going to put shit that I sell pretty much. And already there's a bunch of podcasts in there in case you missed any of that. So there's that. I still have the recommended products page, but though admittedly I have not updated it, I will start working on it again. But all of these are going to be things that I think help with keto. I got that. I got, of course, camera gear and equipment, minimalism, lifestyle, personal finance. Most of it is books or stuff that you would watch on Amazon documentary-wise that I would recommend. So, and if you click through here, you can help the channel out with some, these are all affiliate links, so I would get a little percentage and it wouldn't cost you anything extra. Or if you just click through and buy some shit on Amazon that you were going to buy anyway, but you used my links to click through, it still gives me credit for it in the affiliate program. So that's how that is. Not a lot of people doing that, but probably because I haven't been promoting it and pimping out products. You see it. Other YouTubers doing, even Vegetable Police. He likes to point out that he has affiliate links. But, we got to do what we got to do as content creators, or we can't afford to create content. We go bankrupt. As far as Scott the Photographer here, these are just some samples pictures. This is left over from my old photography page, of stuff work that I've done for clients over the years. So there's that. Scott the Artist, this will be where eventually, and you can check it out now, but this will be where I sell or give away. I might even do free, royalty-free images that you can download, full quality, full resolution, and have a royalty-free license. Like if you wanted to use them on a blog, or you wanted to, as long as you don't project that they're your images, then that's all good. But give me credit for them, obviously, if you download them. But other than that, if you run a business or something and you need an image, then that'll be how you do it. Sorry. But you can check out my Shutterstock portfolio through there, and so that's all there. So all of this stuff is here for you. And of course, many of you have discovered this and used it. It's the contact me form. This essentially is the same as emailing me back. If you subscribe to the email and you reply to the email, I get that. So you can still communicate directly through me without doing this, but some people don't know that, so they come here and they're like, contact me, and they fill this out and they email me, and then I email them back, and then they can reply and get the email address that way, because this is filtered through Squarespace, so there's that. But yeah, you can write me basically right on the page. So, and another new section, thank you to the sponsors. So as you know, every $20 up to 5 videos a week. If I get $20, I do a video. Another $20, do another video. Up to 5 videos. Anything over that is considered a tip for the channel. Because it takes a lot of hours to pump out videos, and it showed this week when I had to pump out 5. So, it is what it is. You don't have to donate. This is if I'm not putting out enough content to keep you happy, this is an option. That's pretty much what I'm going to say. If I receive no contributions, there is still going to be content. It's just going to take a back seat to anything else I may be doing. So that's the plan with content going forward. So people that send in contributions towards the videos usually through the tip jar or PayPal get recognized here. I just started this, so if you contributed and your name's not on here, nobody's perfect. I might have missed something. To be a sponsor, is that through the tip jar or elsewhere? Several ways. You go through the tip jar. Well, let me go to the support me. You can just go to the support me page, and it gives you all the ways that you can. At the bottom of the emails is going to be an address also if you want to go through snail mail. People do that. Let me go to, where is it? Support. So there's the PayPal here. That's directly to my PayPal. There's Bitcoin if you're into crypto. And then this is the virtual tip jar, which is everywhere. This is the way a lot of donations come in. But once I posted the PayPal link, a lot of people have been using this directly. The difference is if you contribute through the tip jar, there's a spot where you can leave me a message, and I do get those and read those, and appreciate those that, and a lot of times people will just tell me why they're doing it or what they think and stuff like that, or they'll tell me their story sometimes or how much I've helped them. So the tip jar is that's why I prefer the tip jars, because I get messages. I think PayPal allows that, but I don't see many people contribute through PayPal and never leave a message or anything. So feel free to leave a message if you contribute, if you have suggestions or things that you think I can do. That's all it takes to be a sponsor. And you don't have to do the whole $20. If 10 people were to do $2 each, there's a video, and so I'm not saying one person should do that. Lately, since I made that announcement, people have funded the video, single people have funded more than one video. We'll just put it that way. So that's why you've got so much content this week, is I was able to literally do nothing else but make content this week because of the sponsors. As a minimalist, my financial needs aren't that rigorous, so that's why I set such a cheap amount for me being able to spend time doing it, because it's obviously it's not a sustainable business model to do full time at that low amount. I'm hoping the ad revenue fills in the gap. I'm hoping that these live streams, which I consider separate, because you guys contribute here, and I appreciate it. It's a couple bucks, but a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there adds up, and that's how I'm able to do this. I'll just put it that way. Otherwise, my ass would be in the Uber right now because it's Saturday night and this is peak Uber time. Instead, I'm here talking to you guys and letting you know about the things I worked on. And I spent a lot of time working on this. All day before I went to work at the bar, this was what I was doing. So, and before that, the days before that, I was doing research on how to do the email thing and all these other things. So that's it for that, in terms of the website. So please, if you're watching this on YouTube, head over to ScottTheTruckDriver.com. And if you scroll down to the bottom of any page, you'll see subscribe, and doesn't cost anything. No problem. You're going to get your own section. You're going to get your exclusive content. And, we can grow this platform. And, everyone has email on their phone, so you'll be able to get these emails, assuming that you check your email. Mine pops right up as a notification every time I get an email, and I've used it to communicate with a bunch of you on here too. This is just more formalized, as in I can communicate with all the subscribers at the same time. And that makes it easier to communicate when I get new content out or anything like that. And I'm definitely going to reward people who subscribe to the email list and the site, because they're growing my platform. They're there to consume my content. And, you know, that's the way. And the only ads they got to deal with are the ones that are in the YouTube videos and the ones that are on the site, which most people just ignore anyway. So there's that. So, you know, that's where we're at. I hope you guys appreciate that I'm trying to build a better way of letting you know that content is there, giving you more content, and having one place to go. Instead of a bunch of places. Now, I know some people don't want to leave these other platforms and go to my website. I understand that. The email, you know, it's not a big deal to click the email and go through. And I've checked my website via my phone, and it's very intuitive. It's not an issue. It's very usable. You'll be able to sit there and flick on your phone. And if you ever forget how to get to my site, just go to the last email I sent you, and click, and there you are. So that's what I see is probably the easiest I could make it. Because when I started doing these other platforms, the number one thing I was hearing was, you know, this is too much of a pain in the ass. I can't get fucking Dlive to work. I can't get Minds to work. I can't do this. I can't do that. So I spent the time to do this to make it easier for people. I want it to be easy to see my shit. And I don't want to have to worry about whether or not everyone's getting notifications or not. And this will be probably the end of me talking about this shit all the time because, you know, I'll obviously start promoting the website exclusively. And I'll be reaffirming it at the end of videos, just like I normally do with my outros. But this is what I want to do now going forward. I want to start writing a blog every now and then. I want to publish my photos here. I want to do everything here instead of benefiting Mark Zuckerberg and, you know, Twitter and all these fuckers that are out there and driving traffic to their platform when I should be driving traffic to my own platform. And that's pretty much what I want to do going forward is grow my platform. And if I have to buy some advertising to make that happen on my website, I might be willing to do that. You know, we'll see how it happens. But for now, I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. You know, boots on the ground, getting my shit in front of eyes anywhere I can. And I'll continue to explore other platforms and think about it, but I'm not going to send you all there for my shit. My shit will always be on ScottTheTruckDriver.com in some form. You know, even if all I can do is just give you the links to like my streams or whatever to send you to those platforms for those purposes. I just want a home that is mine. I own it, and I can put my shit there and not worry about shit. And even if it means less exposure, less impressions, and all of that, and trying to grow, it is what it is. I will still try and grow as organically as the platforms that are out there allow me to do, with the exception of Twitter, because I'm done with Twitter. Twitter is causing way too much harm to humanity, in my opinion. I do not feel comfortable even sharing mirrored posts on there. In fact, I think they just put something in their algorithm to make it so I can't even auto-share my blog on there. So there's that. And that's it for that. So I also lined up a few things to end, because I'm trying to not go more than an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours on this stream tonight, because I do have something I need to do after this. So I wanted to run through some of the comments from today's videos, and since I'm refreshing this, I haven't seen some of these yet. What's this likely spam shit? Sam Keto Fuel, I love the female vocalist. She was great. Mr. Anderson is a rocker. He's good. Don't give a shit about photography. You only dropped one F-bomb until the last few minutes in the Gettysburg video. A record for... I didn't think to count how many fucking F-bombs I did. I don't know why YouTube is censoring you. That's, love it. So let me get back to the published comments. This might be hard to read, so let me zoom in. All right. Keto King. I love keto. After losing loads of weight, tried going back to see if I could be a carb burner and didn't work. Plus, I felt ill, old, achy, just yuck. So keto is with my 1 weekly cheat meal, followed by a fast. I started on creatine and doing resistance band workouts. Full body Monday through Friday. I looked up James Grage as he talks about resistance bands, as my back doesn't allow me to do heavy weights in my mid-50s. I've used to toss around the idea of going back to being a carb burner, and every time I do, I have to remember the fact that I don't like being hungry. The whole reason I went keto in the first place is insatiable levels of hunger, which is generally means your hormones aren't happy. And I like happy hormones, and happy hormones equal feeling full and satiated throughout the day, even though you may not have eaten your ass off all day. I want my appetite to be driven by my caloric burn. You know, if I sit on my ass all day, I'm not going to be as hungry as if I go on a fucking 7-mile hike. It's just science and shit. I know my body is taking care of my energy regulation and my metabolism the best it can, given the damage I did over the years. So I'm content to keep that the way it is. I will have cheat days still. I'm going to try and be careful to figure out which foods I tolerate. Clearly, I swear it's the yogurt, so we'll find out again if I ever have bread again. Because that was the other big cheat that I had. It was pretty much the sugary, shitty yogurt. And it wasn't even super sugary. It was supposed to be low sugar, but it was clearly also low fat in the process, which is probably where the illness came into play. Plus, somebody else had mentioned on, actually, I wonder if that comment's on here. Where was it? I saw somebody said something about my gut. Where is it? It was down here somewhere. Anyways, somebody had mentioned earlier in the comments that because my gut microbiome might not be prepared for the bacteria that is the probiotic bacteria or whatever of that particular yogurt, that it probably caused me a serious issue, which included bloating and rock hard bloating, like straight up. I was worried that and then the constipation along with that was bad. Yeah, that was not my favorite cheat day result. I would have much rather just gotten depressed than that physical illness that I got out of the deal. But thankfully, no depressions yet. So we're good. We're good there. Dave 101, there's supposedly all kinds of keto breads nowadays. Yes, there is. I haven't really tried them. You know, I'm kind of opposed to the idea because what those keto breads are made of are essentially nut flours. And I know that nuts have various plant toxins associated with them. That's why people get allergic to them. You know, I know you don't want to eat shit tons of almonds, or even pecans for that matter. Occasionally, I think it would be okay, but I don't know that I would want to eat that shit all the time, every day. Not so much. It's always safer to stick with whole foods, stick with, stuff as it came out of nature for the most part. Occasionally, I would call it a cheat day on keto if you had a keto dessert that you baked and had nut flour in it and all this other shit. Typically, you're going to find that those are very expensive, too. Like the shit with tons of nut flours in it, like you're talking it for like a pumpkin pie with crust, you're probably talking $20, $25 just to make that pie, if not more. So that's my thoughts on that. It's great for special occasions. Do you really need bread? I mean, I've gotten by so long without it. Occasionally I'll probably try it on a cheat day, but with what I know about bread and what I know about grain, those are going to be rare. I haven't really done pasta cheat days, so my next cheat day might involve pasta just to see how bad the glyphosate fucks me up. So we'll see. I want to experiment with different forms of cheating, but I'm probably going to keep it no more than every 2 weeks to have a cheat meal, and I'm definitely no longer going to do a cheat day where I have more than one item. I'm going to pick something that's a cheat, one food, and everything else will remain the same. That's my plans going forward, and no more than once every couple weeks. Sometimes longer. I might go longer without a cheat. It is what it is. Or something cooked in vegetable oil every now and then, even though that's poison. That'll be considered a cheat. Potatoes every now and then, cheat. That's. I'll probably periodically have a carb load of that nature but very rarely I'll probably do like a dessert, because I find though that the desserts now that I've been this way for so long are just so sweet that I don't want to go back to the, we're talking 50, 60 grams of sugar in some of this shit. And you when you've been keto a long time and off the sugar and doing like, stevia erythritol as your sweetener, and you go back to something like that, it's like just spoonfuls of fucking sugar in your life. So there's that and shit. So let me see here. What else did people write? Oh, Sam, I think you already said that. Why did that? That was weird that it did that. Bonnie, as far as you saying you'd rather have another day in nature as opposed to a day at Singerstock, I believe we go through life in phases. I know I did this the same. I was always looking for a party crowd, but after I quit drinking 14 years ago, congratulations, it's a long time to go without it. I was 44 years old and I found out that's around the same age. I'm 43 now and I just quit drinking. So that's interesting. Then you lasted 14 years. Hopefully I make it 14 years. I found I just didn't get my thrills at those types of events anymore. But oh my goodness, did I enjoy finding new parks and hiking the Appalachian Trail in sections, and eventually took up long distance 20 to 40. I think that's supposed to say miles. Is it? Why did that cut off on me? Why is it cutting off? YouTube's a piece of shit. All right. But, yeah, it seems like it wants to be longer than that. Maybe it's because I got it zoomed in. Maybe if I zoom out. Yeah, there we go. That's weird. Apparently, I can't zoom in too far. Hopefully, you can still read that. Appalachian Trail of 20 to 40 miles biking. I'm now 58. I can do things I couldn't do when I was 30 to 44 years old. I'll take this new phase anytime over my partying phase. Oh, and being carnivore helps me tremendously. I can only hope that I'm in as good a health as you are at that age. And I'm not sure at what age you started to turn this around, other than quitting drinking being a good first step when you were my age. But that's my goal. I want to be able, when I'm your age, to still do all the shit I do now. I like going out in the woods. I like hiking. I like exploring. I like going urbexes. We might be doing an urbex this week. Mr. Anderson said he might be down to do some urbex, so we'll see. He's got a day off coming up, so we're going to try and do that. And one of that might involve a haunted exploration. We'll figure that out. But we'll see. We'll see if we go out and find some ghosts and shit. So, yeah, I want to keep doing this stuff as I get older. I don't want to be fucked up. Dave 101, urbex. That's where you find an abandoned place and you go explore it. I can show you a quick example of it. Some of the urbexers I follow. If I can. This guy runs around the desert with his daughter exploring abandoned places.
Explore the darkest town in the world, Gerlach, Nevada.
Gerlach is a small, secluded town in the middle of absolute nowhere with a population of just over 200 people.
It's so dark that you can not only see the Milky Way galaxy, but also the Andromeda and Pinwheel galaxies with the naked eye.
There we go. Here's an example.
This is it. This is the building.
So you find urbex is basically you find abandoned places, you go inside, you explore, and you figure out the story of what's been going on there. You try and figure out why it's abandoned. You try and figure out who's been there, and you're going to discover things. People leave things in there. People break things. People put graffiti up. And it's just kind of interesting, and it's a little scary, and it's not necessarily the safest thing to do either. There's some very dangerous urbex places out there that people have explored. I watch a lot of exploring stuff, and I've done some urbex myself, and it's really interesting. Like it's the part of history no one gives a shit about. Why are these places abandoned and forgotten? And some of the resources that have been wasted making these places, I'm also intrigued by dead malls and stuff like that. I used to watch Dan Bell, who would just explore dead malls all over the country and abandoned malls. And he made it really creepy too. He put like little the malls music that used to play in the 80s and that kind of stuff, and he knew all the architecture, what year it was from and shit. There's a lot of urbexers on YouTube that do this kind of thing. These this channel happens to be one of the more controversial ones, and I was turned on to it right here on Dlive. I forget who it was. Was it you, Mr. Humpty, that showed me this? Or was it Delta? I think it was Delta showed me this. So yeah, it's just when I was doing a reaction stream one day, someone gave me a link to this channel, and I just found it intriguing because they're really clickbaity. They're really, you can definitely see, you know, his kid's influence on the editing and how it's structured, kind of for people with shorter attention spans. But I also watched some of the long form stuff too, and I originally got into this ironically from David Lanier, who's a photographer. He used to do a lot of urbex photography. Like, he straight up went to places like Detroit and would go into places. He's gone into old abandoned Six Flags and took pictures and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of urbex stuff out there, and it's something that I've done. You know, I've done it at Split Rock. I explored Cinnamon North before it got tore down. It's no longer there anymore. All that's left is this urbex video I did. I don't see any other urbexers that explored it and documented it. So these are places that are not only are abandoned, but are often just going to be tore down and disappear. And then it's like they were never there. So that's kind of one of the other principles of urbex. There's a lot of photographers. It's a big photography thing to do urbex, to go to abandoned places and photograph them. There's people on YouTube that have I think Exploring with Josh went to Chernobyl. I don't know that I want to urbex Chernobyl, but it's a thing. So that's what urbex is. Go check out this video. The Explore With Us is the channel here. And I watch them quite often. So I haven't done a good reaction stream where I just randomly watch the shit I normally watch with you. And then whatever you guys send me, we'll do that another night. But yeah, that's that. So I wanted to get into a few other videos that are going to... Why is that? I didn't click that. Okay. Yeah, that's the Fukushima thing. All right, so I pulled a couple other clips that I kind of wanted to talk about. This one I haven't watched yet. It's from CNBC. And the reason I brought it over is because I want to see... This is what news channels do to advertise. If you see this kind of shit on a mainstream news channel, you can guarantee Domino's paid for it. Or whatever company they're pimping out. When they do a story like this. And I just wanted to point it out. So we're just going to make fun of it a little bit and then we'll move on.
For decades, pizza and Chinese food were basically the only meals available for delivery.
Alright, now it's probably not true, but we'll buy into that.
But that's changing.
It sounds like it's professionally narrated, too.
Uber Eats, Grubhub, and other third-party delivery services mean that you can get anything, from bagels to baked Alaska, delivered to your door. That's bad news for pizza chains, even for Domino's, America's #1 pie maker.
Yeah, #1.
After all, the company built its business on fast delivery. The pizza chain has seen same-store sales go slow amid the delivery boom. Still, Domino's has come back from much worse. At the height of the financial crisis, its same-store sales...
Did it occur to you maybe motherfuckers are getting healthier? And that Domino's isn't on the list? That could be a reason for slumping sales, much like the slumping sales of soda.
...shrank by 6.1%. So how...
I like how they're making assumptions, though. It must be Grubhub killed. Last I checked, you could still get pizza through Grubhub.
How did Domino's manage to claw its way back? And how can that help the pizza chain stay on top today?
I think as people get healthier, it's going to go downhill. Stop making pizzas that taste like shit. That'd be a good idea, too.
A slice of pizza can come topped with gold leaf or caviar, costing you up to $337.
All right, who's the moron paying $337 for a fucking pizza? What the fuck? What is our world coming to?
But the dish has much more humble origins. It first appeared in Naples, Italy, in the 1700s, as food for the lower class. When Italians immigrated to the US,
And this is true, too. I've actually heard this before.
so did pizza.
The pizza is awful, simple survival of the fittest. I have no problems with that. No, surely.
At the beginning of the
Yeah, it would not break my heart if Domino's disappeared.
20th century, New Yorkers were starting to perfect the dish. Factory workers in a rush would pick up a slice for lunch. New York was already a multicultural city in the early 1900s, but if you were to visit a northeastern pizzeria at this time, you'd likely be surrounded by mostly Italian Americans. To become a mainstream favorite, pizza needed a little help from a few restaurant chains popping up in the Midwest. Domino's wasn't actually founded by anyone with Italian heritage. In 1960, Tom and Jim
All
Monahan
right, I don't want the whole fucking history of Domino's. Thank you very much, CNBC, for your Domino's pizza commercial, but I'm still not going to go back to the standard American diet and eat that shit. So the next thing that triggered me, and I actually did watch this and I wanted to share it, some of it, maybe not all of it, I don't know, is, you know, I work really hard on my fucking health. And well, let's just watch, because this is still happening right now. This is affecting us.
Devastating nuclear disaster since Chernobyl. When a tsunami triggered the explosion at the Fukushima nuclear plant in 2011, the world feared the worst, and for good reason. Tens of thousands.
Netflix made Blockbuster an offer. Blockbuster messed up. The technology change. I think that's what killed Blockbuster. You know, no one's, and it's changing right now. Believe it or not, you know, people are not even going to mainstream television. They're streaming everything. You know, I don't watch cable anymore, so cable's gonna die. It's all going to be internet and streaming and going forward, and networks know it. That's why you see them all over YouTube now. And as they go on YouTube, they're pushing us little guys out, which sucks. Fucking sucks. If it's frozen, it's probably on your end because my stream seems to be working. So it might be time for a refresh.
Thousands of people were forced to leave their homes. Millions of others now live in fear of serious illness. In the 3 years since then, Japan has shut down 48 nuclear reactors. But incredibly, it's now planning to reopen them. For the local people, it is an extraordinary decision, especially when you see firsthand the reality of this crisis.
Drone shot.
What you're looking at is a ghost city, one of a number in the 20-kilometre wide no-go zone left in the wake of Japan's Fukushima nuclear catastrophe. This is Namiya City, once home to 21,000 people. Now empty, its businesses abandoned, streets deserted. This city is 15 kilometres from the Fukushima nuclear plant, which means it was right in the...
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. If it's the stream, I know I got more people. Well, I had more people watching. I just had 18 and it dropped to 10. So I don't know. Maybe I showed up somewhere that, you know, on like a main page or something, and it fucked it up. I don't know.
Firing line when the plant blew up. That day, a huge radioactive plume filled the skies, and the people who lived here had little choice but to flee their homes. Well, today, 3 years on, the radiation levels are still very high.
And, you know, that's a small country, you know. I guess the thing I'm worried about, though, is if you remember, Fukushima leaked into the ocean, and which means it probably irradiated a lot of sea life. It irradiated all kinds of shit, and I'm a little worried. You know, I'm like, okay, you know, I'm doing all this health shit. Am I going to die from fucking irradiated food at some point? Or, you know, this shit doesn't go away, you know, easily.
We've been
Yilva, everything is fine on my end so far. Like I said, I do believe it's because these require a lot. Dlive, I think, uses a lot of processing power there, so I don't know.
Them permission to spend just a few hours here. But what about the locals? Well, it's highly unlikely they'll ever be back.
I think a lot of them, at the beginning, they really hoped that they would be back here in a couple of years, but it's not happening anytime soon.
Do you think Japanese journalist Chia Masumoto has watched firsthand her country trying to cope with the disaster? Namiya, she says, prospered because it was home to so many nuclear plant workers.
It's very unfortunate because the plant that flourished their lives and that gave their assets now destroyed their lives and their family and their jobs and their town.
Life for the people of Japan changed forever in March 2011, when a massive
Which isn't that long ago.
earthquake generated this devastating tsunami.
I remember watching that tsunami. That was... Sometimes nature just fucking knocks you the hell out.
But there was more to come, when just hours later, an explosion at the damaged Fukushima nuclear plant triggered the meltdown of 3 of its reactors.
It's an endless catastrophe. I can see no point at which they can stop. The radiation pouring into the Pacific and being emitted to the air, really, in a way, for the rest of time.
Dr.
Yeah, that's still going. This pollution is still going on today. That's why I wanted to highlight this. You know, there's not much we can do about it. I would consider it nature because it was nature that destroyed the plant, pretty much. But you got to really think about it, that the Pacific Ocean, somewhere, you know, is actually probably a large chunk of the Pacific Ocean has radiation in it now. And where do we get some of our food, our seafood and stuff? You know, how is it spreading? Is it in the air too? Which way is it going? What's getting irradiated? I'm starting to wonder. You know, I think I'm pretty safe here in New York for the time being that I'm on the other side of the fucking planet. But I'll be traveling, so I'm going to have to start to think about that going forward. Yelva, the radiation made it to our west coast back in 2016. Well, how is it now? That's what I'm curious about. Is it fucking us as we speak? You know, I mean, is it on the East Coast yet? I don't know. Will the media tell us if it reaches our coast? That's a question for the tinfoil hat that I'm not wearing right now.
Helen Caldecott is a pediatrician and nuclear
There's a lot of tinfoil hat shit going on right now, too.
expert. When you saw what happened at Fukushima, what was your first reaction?
It was a sort of dread, empty feeling in my gut that there was absolutely nothing anyone could do about this, and it would go on forever. And as a physician and a pediatrician, I was absolutely horrified.
Because
I knew what sort of diseases it would produce.
And that's what worries the families of Fukushima. 2-year-old Hiroto wasn't even born when
I would leave. I'd be like, nope, we're moving somewhere, wherever they'll take us that's far away.
the nuclear plant exploded. But even so, he and his 5-month-old little brother are being scanned for radiation.
There's a scan for that?
Hirata Hospital in Fukushima Prefecture has tested 40,000 people for radiation. 100 have so far tested positive. One man recorded.
I would walk. I'd be like, I don't care if I had to walk and like hitch rides or hide on fucking boats. I would find a way, even if I didn't have the cash, because this is a slow, painful death that they're going to end up with. And anything I could do to put some distance between me and that, you know, but I understand it's not easy for everybody. And it's just sad that, and I think this isn't just an isolated type thing. I think there's pollution sites like this all over the planet that are starting to add up, you know, over time. You know, how many of these kind of disasters are we going to have before you can't even fucking go near the ocean without getting radiated? You know, that's a thing. Now, interestingly enough, I've been watching Bald and Bankrupt, and there's a bunch of people living near Chernobyl, you know, because it's free, essentially. They go there, and they even get paid, and little trucks bring supplies in every now and then. But they go out there, and they live in these shitholes. You know, we watched a video on a previous reaction stream that, you know, they're surviving. They're getting to old age, but they're clearly getting radiated. I want to know how. How are they surviving all of that? I don't know. Most nuclear plants are on fault lines, Ilva. Yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of nuclear plants near where I'm at, which is another reason why I'm looking at this, because there's also, the weather's been getting a little out of control everywhere, especially here. We're having some severe storms and some water spouts in Lake Ontario recently, and there's a power plant right there. You see it in that video that I went to the beach on. Well, how comfortable was I at that beach being able to look out over the water and see the power plant? You know, are they as safe as they say they are when you have shit like this going on? I mean, I don't think they're that safe. I think we need to start thinking about that. But you know what they did to change all the other power plants after Fukushima and Chernobyl? Nothing. They just went on fucking business as usual.
Times the normal level. And are you worried for yourself?
I would think they need to make it more safe.
I'm concerned.
I'm not saying to get rid of nuclear power, but we think we need, after these two incidents, shouldn't we be thinking about how to prevent this kind of shit from happening? You know, I mean, they've known that Japan's right along a fault line and is prone to tsunamis pretty much throughout history. You know, same thing, you know, in the United States. Here in New York, there's a fault line here. It doesn't earthquake very often, so we're good there. You know, what about places like California where there's fault lines? You know, if you're going to put something like this there, it should be fucking earthquake and tsunami proof. Unfortunately, yeah. The ocean covers 75% of the world. My ass, they don't hide dumping shit in it. That's why I'm not a fan of swimming in the ocean. I've done it, and when I went to St. Lucia, I was swimming in the Caribbean. I don't know what's in that water. It seemed pretty clear, but I was worried. I'm a little neurotic about this, a little bit. Swimming in lakes and just because of the pollution. If the lake was in the middle of nowhere with no motherfuckers around it, I'll jump in, no problem, and be happy about it. But some of these, you know, beaches that are just in heavily populated regions, that's always on my mind when I'm in there swimming. It's on my mind with a drink. Why do you think I drink bottled water from a place I know where they get their water? You know, Poland Springs, they bottle their water in this little fucking town in the middle of nowhere of Maine. It's why I picked this brand of water. I'm not getting paid to say that or anything. I'm just saying I choose them because as a truck driver, I used to have to go and pick this shit up. And this shit was literally nowhere near large urban areas. You know, it gets distributed to warehouses, but the original bottling location is actually in Maine. In the town of Poland Springs, Maine, I believe. So, you know, I believe it's supposed to be naturally fed spring water that they are bottling there. You know, no, it could be in there fucking pulling a wool over everyone's eyes. That's true too, but I'm hoping that's not the case. Now, granted, I'm drinking it from PBA-filled plastic bottles or BPA-filled plastic bottles. So, kind of, yeah, there's a little bit. You're not going to cut all the toxicity out of your life. It's impossible.
About myself.
Especially when you got
But
radiated
more than
fucking
that,
oceans.
I'm very concerned about my daughter.
For Mum Kaori, it's a confronting moment when she'll learn if her daughter has been affected. This machine converts radiation into light to detect contamination. Today, the news is good. But because the air and soil, the water and food have all been affected, little Rin will need to be tested for years to come. What is this for?
For radiation.
A few kilometres away, housewife Tatiko Noguchi is doing tests of her own. It's too cold for radiation.
Very dangerous.
Just walking around with a Geiger counter.
And the results aren't as good.
That is still going up. So this tree is a hotspot.
60 kilometres from the nuclear plant that exploded 3 years ago,
It's still going up.
radiation levels on the ground and in the trees are still alarmingly high.
Define alarmingly high.
My life has changed ever since the disaster. I've never hung my laundry outside. I buy water, and I don't buy vegetables from outside.
So while we're worrying about what vegetables to eat, you gotta start asking, where's your vegetables coming from?
Tatiko leads a
Are we importing food from Japan at all?
group of volunteer mothers who
Or anywhere like within 1,000 miles of Japan?
test everything for radiation. They rode bikes down every street of their town to personally map the levels of contamination.
Here,
The fuck happened there? Oh.
retreat is no longer an option.
Commercials and
every
shit.
day they test food, even dust, vacuumed from family homes.
Garlic and shit from China. They're not that far away, and they got pollution problems of their own. We could do a whole fucking video on that.
Today's results reveal cesium, a deadly chemical from the nuclear explosion fallout.
Do you feel forgotten 3 years on?
The Japanese people have not even thought about us anymore.
Neither does anybody else.
Government
Except
is
60 Minutes Australia, apparently.
saying decontamination is working and spending billions and billions of yen in this operation. But the problem has not been solved. It's still ongoing.
So many families have been affected by the nuclear explosion, including 80,000 radiation refugees. Many of them 2 years ago I found living in cardboard boxes in stadiums.
When you look at this, I mean, I do feel like I'm looking through someone's window. People have gone to a lot of effort, haven't they, to try and make a cardboard.
So this just goes to show, no matter how, like, good you think you're doing, something can happen to fuck that all up for you. And, you know, it's sad, really. But what can you do? Sometimes nature is going to hit the reset button on us. And, you know, I was making this point in the VP stream, you know, that if you're down to minimal body fat and stuff like that, and you're trying to move next door to your nearest grocery store, which generally runs out of food within the first 72 hours of a massive event such as, you know, a natural disaster, your grocery stores are going to get wiped out within the first 72 hours. There's no food. So, you know, these are things to think about. You know, a little bit of the prepper in me is coming out here, and I'm not much of a prepper. I just kind of starting to get sucked into that whole sphere of shit. But this is something to think about out there in terms of what is in our water, what is in the places we're going that are near these cities, that are near these disasters, or even as far away as clearly the West Coast of the United States is affected by something that's going to cause you to get cancer and die. Now, granted, it's going to take a while. It's not going to be a quick thing, but still, you know, it's something to think about. There's more causes than nutrition for our problems, I guess, is what I wanted to get across with this. Professor Penn, the USA has launched way more nukes in our own soil. That's just a fact. Oh, I'm sure there's radiated parts of the United States that they don't want us to do. I've seen a lot of speculation that Area 51 really doesn't have anything to do with aliens. It has to do with a dumping ground of very potent toxic and chemicals that they don't want anyone to know is getting dumped there. That's one of the theories I heard, and you know what? It given the economics and the motivations behind it, I think I would roll with that theory over the alien theory, that it's just a dumping ground for the toxic materials. There's evidence of people that worked in Area 51 that have very bad illnesses as a result, you know. So there's that. So yeah, I assume the desert's got a lot of things that we don't want anywhere near anybody dumped and disposed of, and that's pretty fucking horrible. But this isn't a desert, you know. And Lake Ontario that I just went swimming in, it's not a desert. It's got pollution problems over the years. It's just something to think about. Be careful, I guess, is the moral of the story that I'm getting at by playing that clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Go ahead and check out 60 Minutes Australia. Has been putting out some good stories, I will say that. And I don't say that lightly of a mainstream media source, but 60 Minutes Australia has done some pieces that I've agreed with a lot, that I thought were informative, that made me take a look at things. They've talked about diet and nutrition and keto and all of that stuff over the years. So I want to, you know, basically say that. Professor Penn, I'm not a global warming ecologist myself, but some stuff is just apparent. That's true. You know, I mean, I see a lot of people just not giving a shit about their environment. And, you know, there's people that claim they give a shit, but then they do all the things that are contributing to destroying the environment. I'm not a huge environmentalist myself. You know, I'm definitely not looking for the Green New Deal or any of that, which basically is a fucking financial scheme more than anything else. But I think if we all just paid attention a bit more, you know, like she was saying in that video, that nobody in Japan seems to even remember that that's still going on, or that it happened for that matter, other than the people who were directly affected. Average motherfuckers don't give a shit. We have short-term memories when it comes to these kinds of things. It'll be forgotten in lieu of the next big thing that the media wants us to pay attention to. And, you know, I haven't forgotten that this is going on over there. And I think that's why I wanted to kind of play this, is to kind of remind everybody that that's still a thing. That there's radiation, there's all kinds of pollution out there that is going to affect our health regardless of how much effort we put into taking care of ourselves. You can't protect yourself from everything. I see a lot of people who go nuts trying to be healthy. Oh, I'm not going to use this product and that product because it's going to put chemicals on me. And I'm like, oh, that's all well and good. But not only will you find shit like that, like Fukushima and all of these other things that are polluting our environment, but there's things in nature that can come along and pollute your environment as well, or at least for humans. Nature likes to clean house every now and then. It's the way it goes. And there's nothing we can do about it except prepare as much as we can for these things to happen. And I don't think we prepare enough for these things to happen. I see it. You see it all the time. Every big disaster, people suffer and die because they weren't prepared more than anything else. Some things you can't prepare for. I acknowledge that. But I do think that we tend to not think enough about the fact that every once in a while something like that could happen right near you. You're not exempt. Wherever you live, you're not exempt. Now, if you live in a very remote area, which most people don't, you're less likely to encounter that, but you're more vulnerable to nature out there too. At the same time, you don't have as much infrastructure to help cope with it. It becomes more of a survival situation. But large urban areas I think are very vulnerable, because you got a lot of people that think everything's getting taken care of because they look around and they see Walmart and, you know, everything they need is within a few blocks or a short drive from their house, and they tend to get caught in this little microcosm of it's all good, we're good, we don't need anything like that, we got everything we need right here. And the fact, and I know from being a trucker, that's not something that is, you know, necessarily safe, because of how quickly these resources disappear during a disaster or even during unrest. If you look at Venezuela, for example, you know, there's there's a lot of complacency, I think. And I think we have a touch too much complacency when we get comfortable in our own little bubbles. And the results are, you see people living in cardboard boxes, essentially, after that disaster. Probably because not only was the government over there not prepared, but they themselves had taken for granted that everything they had was fine and there was no danger. There's always danger, no matter where you live. Nature can destroy what we build pretty easily. So I think just having a little more awareness and preparedness in our lives might be beneficial to long-term health and survivability. So, Professor Penn, I'm right-leaning and think most of global warming thing is bullshit, but people do need to take care not to shit in their backyard. Well, that's kind of the point I'm making. It's not necessarily, I'm not talking about, we need to become vegan because of cow farts and we need to go solar because of this. And although I do think going solar would be a wise choice, but it's still kind of not cost effective for people of modest incomes. I've been doing a lot of things that have made me more independent of the grid occasionally. When I go out, I have a little solar panel I carry with me, and I can keep my stuff charged and powered independent of anything. I think as time goes on and the resources become more scarce because population is growing, I think sooner or later we're going to have to switch to something that's more sustainable than a nuclear power plant, for example. When you put strain on those, they tend to blow up after a while. It's kind of a thing. And then you throw in a natural disaster, and it's almost a certain guarantee that this is going to happen. And these aren't things that you can just clean up and say, oh, that fucking sucked. No, it still sucks. It's still sucking. It will suck for the next 100 years, probably. And that's kind of what I hope that we as a species will start to recognize, that we're probably exceeding the capability of our environment to support our lives. As far as the global warming thing, at the risk of pissing off anybody who's remotely political, there is evidence of changing temperatures, but there's also evidence that shows that throughout history, prior to anything that we were doing, these global temperature changes were the norm. They happen. They happen in cycles. Warming and cooling cycles happen. Not to mention the fact that an asteroid could fucking come hit the planet at any moment and really destroy all fucking human life, so to speak, mainly by destroying our food source. There's some fairly active super volcanoes, one here in the United States that no one seems to give a shit about, that I've been kind of keeping tabs on over the years, and that's Yellowstone. If Yellowstone blows, United States is done. We're done. There's nothing we can do about it. Are we doing anything about that? Not really. We've got scientists there monitoring, but, a bunch of missing hikers that disappear there. There's a whole bunch of things going on. But the average everyday motherfucker that goes to Walmart every day and is, living his life and going to and from his job isn't thinking about the fact that if that blows up, it's going to get bad. And it won't even get directly bad right away. Like if I'm here in New York and Yellowstone goes, it's going to take a few months before the food supply is destroyed. But once that happens, all hell's going to break loose, and it's nobody's thinking about it. Why? Why aren't we thinking about it? Why aren't we talking about it? Why are we too unable to handle or deal with the fact that this could happen and things like this happen? No one thinks about it until after it happens, So that's my thoughts on there. It's no question if Yellowstone, not only is it's not a question of if and when, we're due. If you look at the cycles that they've gone through, was every 6 or 7, I want to say, I'm not sure, but there's a cycle like of 70,000 years, is it? And we're due. We're like right there. Like in the next 1,000 years, it's probably going to go. If you look at the cycle, because every time it goes, there's a new caldera or whatever you call it that pops up. So they measured those to figure out how many years based on continental drift and all of that shit, how often it goes off. And I think the last documentary I watched on it says that we're due. It could happen. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen 1,000 years from now. It's a crapshoot. There's a lot of good documentaries on Yellowstone. You should definitely, if you're unaware of the fact that we're sitting on a fucking time bomb here in the United States, you might want to go and watch a few documentaries on it to at least get up to speed. It's nothing to panic about. You want to know why it's nothing to panic about? Because there's really not much you can do about it other than have a little preparedness in your life. You know, that's my thoughts there. So I'm thinking about this stuff. You know, that's why one of the reasons I like learning about survival in the wilderness and that kind of stuff, because it might come down to that. Hopefully not, but it doesn't hurt to have a few skills and knowledge to lean on if things do go bad. And I'm finding myself wanting to learn more about some self-sustainability out there going forward. So don't just be comfortable that, you know, you can go to the store and get shit, because if things go down, that's the first thing to go. That and gas. You think you're going to drive away? Nope, that's not happening. So, you know, these are all things to think about. Yelva, Italy is also... Oh, there's super volcano. I think... How many did they say there were? I thought I heard something like 10 or 12 super volcanoes that we know about. I don't know. I don't think I know the statistics for that, but there's a lot of them. There's enough of them that we're going to get fucked up at some point. And it'll be a global event when one of those goes. It won't just be... Yeah, it'll be very bad for whoever the local population is, but it has global implications, as in the ash that gets spewed up into the sky will kill a lot of plant and animal life, and force famine pretty much on us. So... But I'm pretty sure we'll have some fucking Pop-Tarts and Doritos and Domino's Pizza sitting around for a while. So maybe we won't starve to death right away. You know, just a thought. Don't forget what happened to Hawaii. Yeah, I haven't forgotten Hawaii. I haven't actually kept up with that, though. Is that volcano still going? I don't know. So, but I just wanted to do those two. Well, I actually had a few other videos, but I don't think I'm going to get into those today. At least not yet. So, that's it for this live stream today. I got places to go, things to do. Thank you for all 10 of you hanging out, watching this shit. I appreciate it. Please head to ScottTheTruckDriver.com and subscribe to the new email list, and that way you can keep up with everything I post and everything I'm doing, plus get exclusive content through the subscriber lounge on ScottTheTruckDriver.com. So that's coming. Thank you, Dave101 and Mr. Humpty and Professor Penn for the follow, and Yelva for the dime. You guys are awesome, I gotta say. I definitely appreciate it. Of course, Mr. Humpty had to get that tutti fucking fruity in there. So, yeah, I appreciate you. And welcome, Professor Penn. I enjoyed having the conversation with you. That's one of the reasons I like doing these here is the conversations that can pop up, because I'm easily triggered by things, you know, when people talk to me. So that's why I think my podcast will have a home here on Dlive for quite some time to come. Just, you know, even if I only have like 3 or 4 people show up, as long as they're talking, we can make this shit work. Also, you'll notice on Dlive that I did put a link to my streaming schedule and calendar in the panels. So look down below. You can see that next to my ugly face. And other than that, there might be random streams of random shit. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. So have a nice motherfucking day. Also, Vegetable Police video will be on YouTube tomorrow. Before I leave, I'll make sure it's posted. It's uploading right now, I think. Or processing right now. So that'll be there. For those of you who missed the replay, I'm sorry that replay disappeared. Hopefully this replay will be there on here as well. Because I remembered to flick the switch this time. So have a nice motherfucking day. And shit.